Hi, I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times. It's Tuesday, June 30th, and I've got news from Arkansas. Actually, I feel a little like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day. Same stuff coming up over and over again every day, but let's go at it again. First, I'm happy to announce the world has not come to an end because of the United States Supreme Court decision legalizing same-sex marriage, even though Jason Rapert and a few others of his overheated variety seem to predict that it might. In Arkansas, one county clerk in Cleveland County has said she will resign shortly rather than participate in issuing marriage licenses to same-sex couples. That's the proper decision on her part. There have been a scattering of other people throughout the South that have made the same decisions, but otherwise it seems like life is going to go on and the American public is going to move ahead without much upset over the matter. The University of Arkansas has said that yes, it now will give same-sex spouses insurance coverage just as it does to other spouses. We don't have same-sex marriage anymore, we just have marriage. And I think companies, public and private, that had provided benefits to spouses where couples have not been able to marry now will be able to marry and enjoy the benefits of marital bliss and law coverage just like everybody else. I think that's a good thing. Otherwise, I'd point you to our Arkansas blog for a nice interview Benji Hardy did last night with John DePippo, former law dean and law professor at UALR, who talks about some of the legal implications of that ruling. It's insightful stuff. And where are the American people on this? A variety of polls have come out in the last 24 hours that I think shed some interesting light on things. First of all, President Obama, for the first time in years, is now in the favorable category, according to CNN polling. A majority favor his job performance, and under 50% for the first time in a long time view him disfavorably. I think the economy is up. There have been some wins for him on court. He's done a bipartisan trade deal, unlike the Republican Party that still seems intent on being against anything he stands for. He's managed against great odds to achieve some things. It's showing for him in the polls. Here's some more interesting polling from new poll results on CNN. They polled the American public on the two big Supreme Court decisions last week on the Affordable Care Act and on same-sex marriage. 63% approve of the Obamacare ruling, 59% approve of the marriage ruling. Those numbers are only likely to get higher. I've got another item on the Arkansas blog today about polling, a massive roundup of polling data by the New York Times on a variety of hot-button issues over the years that show how people have changed. Nothing has changed quite as dramatically as public acceptance of same-sex marriage, but there's some findings there that'll interest, I think, particularly people in Arkansas where the legislature votes quite differently than what public sentiment shows. 85% think gun control laws should be the same or even stricter. Something in that same range support abortion rights. Capital punishment is opposed by a majority, but only in the 60% range, perhaps not as high as you think. It's interesting numbers, and of course politicians are driven far more by noisy people than by what the poll results show, and also by elections, which are important too, but it's food for thought. Here's another piece of thought for you. The Oklahoma Supreme Court today has struck down as unconstitutional the establishment of a Ten Commandments monument on the state capitol grounds in Oklahoma City. They say that's an unconstitutional use of public property for religious purpose. As you know, Senator Jason Rapert of Conway and other Republican legislators want to establish a Ten Commandments monument on the Arkansas Capitol lawn. They say it's not about religion. Of course it's about religion. If it is established, there will be a lawsuit. I think legal precedent will be hard for them to overcome, but that's another one to watch. Elsewhere around the country today, the New York Times has devoted some attention, and I've linked it also on my blog, to a Supreme Court decision to take up again the question of affirmative action for admission policies and institutions of higher education. This is a Texas case. Arkansas colleges don't have explicit affirmative action plans, but to varying degrees they do take steps that are intended to encourage diversity in student bodies. The Supreme Court, at least four of them at least, seem bound and determined to strip affirmative action from colleges. They seem to think race is over in America. I think events of recent days tell us another story. A sad story in Saline County today. A father and son were found dead in a car partially submerged in the Saline River near Lake Norrell. The cause of that isn't yet known. And finally, speaking of Groundhog Day, we're still fighting about the Confederate flag. Confederate sympathizers, a neo-Confederate group, the League of the South, which has strong racist tendencies despite their protestations to the contrary, is organizing Confederate flag rallies around the state. They were in Harrison last week. They'll be in Conway, Russellville, Memphis, and perhaps other places waving flags. their numbers are small. I think it's a public service to see who's out there on the extreme that they want to wave Confederate flags, symbols of so many bad things in the faces of other people just to show what they really stand for. I'd say it's a public service. Let them wave their flags and pass them by silently. Their day is over, whether they know that or not. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow.